Welcome to Session 2 of the Living and Learning Workshop. Today we'll be discussing the connection between chronic pain, mood-related problems, and physical wellness. To kick off today's session, we'll briefly review last week's session, where we covered the connection between mental and physical health. Then we'll discuss our stress response and health. And finally, we'll look at connections between chronic pain, mood, sleep, exercise, and nutrition, which will lead us to our final discussion of how to consider whether or not you'd like to make changes regarding your lifestyle and how it impacts your health. Think back to last week when we discussed the impact of stress and how it's connected to mood and chronic pain. Pause the video and reflect. What do you remember about the connection between mood and chronic pain? Did anything we discussed surprise you? What did you find the most helpful? And what questions do you have so far about what you've learned in the workshop? We'll begin today's session by discussing the fight or flight or stress response. These are terms you're probably already familiar with that refer to the changes that occur in your body when you experience stress. When we encounter a stressful situation, our bodies turn on the stress response or the fight or flight response. The stress response is natural, and it's helpful in times of danger. The stress response turns on whenever we perceive or think a situation is stressful, even if in reality the situation isn't actually dangerous. This means that sometimes life stressors, or even our own chronic pain that is not dangerous, can still throw our bodies into the fight or flight response. As we become stressed, we often devote less and less energy to basic self-care. We engage in behaviors which provide short-term comfort. Some examples of habits that might provide short-term comfort include eating and drinking more than we need to, or choosing to stay inside most of the day to watch TV. Unfortunately, coping strategies like these, over time, can contribute to long-term health problems, including obesity, diabetes, or even cardiovascular disease. If these unhealthy coping mechanisms go unchecked, health problems can become chronic and eventually become a source of stress in and of themselves. So our pain becomes one of our stressors. Even at a more basic level, research shows that people who regularly engage in good self-care behaviors, like getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, eating well, and using alcohol healthfully, are less likely to seek mental health treatment. So, let's talk a bit more about how improving your health can improve your mood and your psychological wellness. Let's put it all together to think big picture about how stress and health problems can feed back into one another. Life stressors or chronic pain can activate the fight or flight response. This could lead to poor self-care, because you have less energy to meet your basic needs. This could lead you to pursue unhealthy coping skills, which in turn evolve into health problems. And finally, those health problems lead to even more stress. So the question is, how do we disrupt this cycle of stress and health problems? Pause the video and reflect to see if you have any ideas. A key component of the Living and Learning Workshop is understanding that physical health is closely tied to emotional health, and the way we treat our bodies can directly impact how we feel and are able to interact with others. Next up, we'll review a few core tenets of physical and emotional health. This workshop targets 5 core areas of physical wellness: knowledge about stress, sleep, exercise, nutrition, and medical care. Let's discuss a few examples of how making changes in these areas can be beneficial for not only physical, but mental wellness. We learned last week that chronic pain and mood are highly connected. When you're experiencing a bad mood, that actually can intensify the amount of pain that you sense. And the reason why today we will briefly discuss sleep, exercise, and nutrition is because the way we treat our bodies can help break this cycle between experiencing pain and experiencing low mood symptoms. Even modest physical activity can improve your mood. Better sleep quality can reduce pain sensitivity or the amount of pain you sense in your body. Small changes can lead to significant improvements. And finally, improved nutrition provides energy for coping with better strategies. Up next, we'll discuss nutrition, sleep, and exercise, and how these different facets of health work together to impact your pain and mood.